Hi, so another video. I haven't done one in a while. I haven't uploaded any of them yet, so it's not going to make any difference for anyone viewing. But yeah, I haven't done one in a while. A few things have changed since the last one. Um, so I'll try and make this video succinct, and yeah, hopefully it'll work out okay. Still pretty new to this, don't really do any kind of vlogging or blogging or anything like this, so I did watch the other videos back a couple of times and they are pretty cringeworthy if I'm honest, so this one I would imagine will be the same. Yeah, so where did we leave off? So after the last one, where I'd had a meeting with the ENT surgeon, we had been through some things. I was basically waiting then until a next appointment with the neurologist. So the neurosurgeon rather was saying a number of things that kind of caught me off guard. I know it's their duty of care; they have to go through all the things with you that could go wrong, so that you're aware, you're informed. But that was a bit difficult because generally speaking, they don't say, yeah, there's a chance that you could be pretty much fine, because that's unlikely. But they do need to go through all the negative stuff. So that was a bit hard to take. I had the full intention of going to that meeting and then going to work because it was in the morning. But my work had been outstanding, really, incredibly understanding and compassionate about all of this. And prior to me going to that meeting, they were saying, don't bother about coming in, just take the day off. And I was like, oh, well, we'll see how it goes. But they were totally right. What they understood that I didn't was that that kind of meeting is really draining, actually. It was a bit difficult as well because the first meeting that I went to with the ENT surgeon, my partner, Kim, wasn't there for that one because I didn't think I needed anyone there, so I didn't have anyone with me. The second one, I felt that it might be good to have someone with me, and also for them to find out, for Kim to find out more. If she had any questions, she could ask them directly. And it was quite an eye-opener for her because she felt that maybe I hadn't been honest about the severity of this. And that's because I didn't fully understand all of the things that could happen. And understandably, that's going to scare you. I mean, it wasn't great for me to hear it. And there's a range of things. The problem is that every case is totally different. Some people genuinely are pretty much fine. I mean, they'll be deaf in the affected ear after the surgery, and there will be a period of recovery during which time you kind of learn to balance again, orientate, and just get used to things again, readjust. But on the whole, they're pretty much fine. Other people have the potential for a whole swathe of issues, depending on their severity, is obviously going to totally affect your period of recovery. So it's hard to know just what's going to happen and try and predict that. And that, I think, is one of the big issues, is just the unknown. However bad something is, to a certain extent, you can try and make peace with it and try and deal with it. I mean, when I first found out that I'm going to be deaf in my left ear after the surgery, that wasn't great. But from the outset, being told that's going to happen to you, it sucks, but you, not even with trying to, but you just, eventually it sort of sinks in. And yeah, it's not going to be great, but I guess it's not going to be that bad, really. Whereas all the other stuff that, relatively speaking, is worse, not you can't prepare yourself for something if you don't know it's going to happen, and the idea that it might and all these things might happen is quite unsettling, and obviously you can't sort of do anything about that, you can't deal with it. So psychologically that's a bit of an issue. On that front, I've been very lucky actually. People fairly regularly ask me how I'm doing, which is lovely of them. And generally, I say fine, because most of the time this isn't on my mind at all. Like, it literally I don't even, I mean, I go weeks without thinking about it. Um, and when I do think about it, I tend to be quite logical and pragmatic about it, which I think is good, because on a couple of occasions that I have got less logical and more emotional about it, um, yeah, well, it's not an enjoyable thing to think about, so obviously that didn't go particularly well. If you are so inclined, as is naturally the case, to be worried about these things, the best thing that I would suggest is to just try and, as best you can, be calm and logical and rational. Now, I know that that's a very difficult thing to do, and if you're not naturally that way inclined, then being told to be calm when you're not isn't the best remedy for it. But ultimately, you do need to kind of make some level of peace with the stuff that you can't control. You just take it as it comes, as best you can. And if you are finding that hard, so then try and surround yourself with people that will be supportive and kind, and listen if you want to talk, and just be there if you don't. So yeah, that's that part. Then the other bit really I was going to talk about is the kind of update really on my progress. I said before about the whole I go weeks without thinking about it. This all started back in November. It's now the following September, so I've been waiting many months to get to a point where now my surgery is 2 weeks away. Touch wood, as long as it doesn't change. And for a lot of people, most of the videos that I see about acoustic neuromas are people based in the States, so I'm not totally familiar with how that would work in terms of their healthcare, but it seems to be that people would say, oh, no, I've got my diagnosis a month ago and I'm having surgery tomorrow. That's a really fast turnaround. I mean, if you're watching this in the UK, or if you're having surgery in the UK, there is a waiting list. You will be waiting probably a few months. In my case, I had a date. It got cancelled and pushed back several months, which was difficult. I was surprised by how upset I was actually about that, because I hadn't realised how much you do start to invest in a date. It's something I need. I obviously need the surgery, but at the same time it's not something I'm looking forward to. I've never had a major operation before, and this one is pretty significant. Brain surgery is going to be a big deal. And you do naturally start to plan your life around it to a certain extent. What if if you're with a partner and they're going to try and take some time off to help support you during that time, that obviously affects their work life as well as their personal life. So trying to balance those things is difficult. Again, my work was very supportive with me trying to suddenly cancel the dates that I thought I was going to be off and then reschedule them for now. But the whole dealing with the kind of roller coaster of it is that, again, in the UK, the surgery could be cancelled right up until the day still, which would suck, but it's a reliance on whether the beds are free, basically. Less so whether the surgeons are free, because that's booked in, but whether they actually have capacity at the hospital. And I say that I've been dealing with this well, but 2-3 weeks ago, I had several missed calls from one of the hospital's numbers, and it was an outgoing call line, so I couldn't call back on that number. It didn't go through to anything. So I tried several numbers that I had for different departments and for the secretary and trying to get hold of someone, and it took me about 40 minutes to get back in touch with someone. And the whole time I really started to panic, basically, and it made me realise that although I think I'm dealing okay with this, all of these kinds of emotions and how I feel about it are kind of not far from the surface, and they do kind of bubble up. Because I was thinking, God, well, the hospital's not going to be calling for anything good. Having had the experience of a cancellation and feeling shocked and upset by that, and it was a very jarring kind of experience. I was very worried that that's what this call was going to be, and it turns out actually it was the department responsible for appointments just calling to check if I was still okay to go ahead with my date. It's like, oh God, yes, absolutely, yes. And I was very relieved to hear that things are, at this stage, still going ahead as planned. But it just made me realise that actually this is there, it's not that far from the service, so even if you are calm and if you are okay, it's still there, which is bound to be the case. So the next steps are, I have a pre-surgery appointment on the 11th of September, and then on the 13th of September I'll have admission to the hospital for surgery on the 14th, because they start early in the morning. I don't really know anything in terms of what I need to take to the hospital, even what time I will be there for the admittance side of things. These are all things that I'll ask at the pre-surgery appointment on the 11th. Trying to get some answers then and try and take things a bit further. The only other thing that I was going to say is that I've been watching some more videos, and I hadn't been because basically for fear of scaring myself. I didn't want to see things and it made me feel bad, because most of the time people will talk about their experience or put something out if it's been negative, and not knowing if any of these things that happen to them might happen to me, I didn't want to freak myself out unnecessarily, but I started watching a few videos again because we're not far out from my new date, and I saw some really good videos actually where there had been complications and issues for those patients, but they showed remarkable resilience to it, and undoubtedly they had difficult times, putting it mildly, but they showed that this is something that, you know, at times it may be bad, but you can progress and get through it. And actually, for me, it showed strength in those people, to see their journey and to see that they, you know, they've documented it much like I am doing now. Several of them, they were saying, you know, I'm basically filming this for me, something that I can look back on, something, a bit of a focus and a project in a way to kind of be, to document it, I guess. And if it helps anybody, then great. And I actually drew a bit solace from that. So maybe I will upload these, and maybe someone other than me will see these, and if that helps them, helps you, great. So yeah, there's not much more to say at this time. I'll give, I think, more updates when I have the pre-surgery meeting on the 11th. And then I guess then after that it'll be, yeah, D-Day really, and surgery, and I'll probably carry this on after that, and we'll sort of see how things go. So thanks for your time. Yeah, see you around. A quick side note, it's not all bad. We recently got a puppy, which is awesome. It's going to be a good distraction, keeping me busy. Another thing I thought as well, and we had thought previously, was that it would be, you know, lovely to have a dog. And I'm potentially going to be in the house after the surgery for a little while, and it might be nice to have some company and kind of a bit of a therapy dog sort of thing going on as well. So yeah, his name's Toby. He's 12 weeks now. We've got him at 8 weeks. Golden Lab. It's absolutely gorgeous when he's not trying to bite everything. Yeah, so random side note, but he may be talked about and maybe appear in other videos later. So yeah, thought I'd mention it. See ya.